Have you ever rearranged your furniture like 5 different times? You stepped back and looked at the room and thought, why does this still look wrong? You move the couch, you move the rug, you move the coffee table, and the frustrating part about all of this is that you know something is off, but you can't actually explain what it is. And the real reason almost has nothing to do with the furniture in your space. It has to do with the invisible rules that your brain expects you to follow, and almost nobody ever talks about. If you don't know, my name is Cooper, and of course, today we are going to be talking about why your home still feels wrong, even if you did everything right. I think we all have gone through the experience of going out and buying a bunch of furniture for our space and then putting it together, and it just doesn't feel right. And the frustrating part about all of this is that you keep rearranging your furniture over and over and over again, expecting that it's going to fix things, and it never does. And that's because most people think that decorating is about style, but the real thing that makes a room feel good or terrible is actually going to be the spatial psychology, because there are very few things in a room that can make your brain go, yes, this just feels right. And on the other side of the coin, it's always, this room is stressing me out and I just don't know why. The first thing you need to understand here is that your brain is reading rooms like it's reading a story. Your brain actually scans a room within 2 seconds from when you walk in, and it's trying to answer three questions immediately. Where do I look? Where do I move? And where am I going to sit? And if the room answers all three of those questions in a very clear manner, you're going to feel a lot more peaceful and a lot more calm. But if your room doesn't really answer those questions, it's going to feel a little weird. And a lot of the times, there's kind of this in between that just confuses your brain a lot. Like, let's just imagine this, right? You walk into a living room and you see a couch facing one direction, a chair facing another direction, a TV kind of in the corner, and then a random lamp sitting in the other corner. Your brain is like, okay, so what am I supposed to do in here? What is this space? So the first thing that comes to mind here is that it's going to be a layout problem and that you just need to move the furniture around. But usually it's actually about the decisions that you're making. The main problem here is that the room hasn't made a clear decision about what it's for. Every well-designed space has something called spatial gravity, which basically means that there's at least one element that's pulling everything together. You can kind of think about it like the solar system. The couch, the chairs, the lighting, everything is going to orbit around one of those things. But instead, most rooms will actually create just like 5 different suns. In other words, you just have way too many focal points or points of interest in the space. Because your TV wants to be the focus, your window wants to be the focus, your fireplace wants to be the focus, the art on the wall also wants to be the focus. And when you have that scenario, the room is going to feel really chaotic because nothing is actually in charge of the space. And this is one of the biggest reasons why people will feel the need to rearrange their furniture over and over and over again, because you're trying to make everything work together when the room actually just needs a clear leader. And don't worry, the fix here is really, really simple. You just need to ask yourself, what is your room revolving around? Some examples of focal points in rooms can include, the view, the fireplace, the conversation area, the TV, or the dining table, or the artwork. But you really need to pick one thing and have everything else support that. And this is something that really differentiates designer spaces from the average person. I think it's really easy for a lot of us to go shopping for our apartments or our homes and be like, oh my gosh, I love this statement couch. I love this unique rug. I love this crazy lamp, yada, yada, yada. But then when you all bring them home, you haven't considered a singular focal point that you have because you've just been shopping for the items individually instead of considering the full environment that it's going to be a part of. I find that a lot of people have a really hard time at understanding how things are going to come together in the end of things and the look that it's going to give them. I think a lot of people feel the need that every single angle of their home needs to be perfect, but that's not the reality of the situation. That has been manufactured by the internet and online interior design content. That is not reality. It doesn't matter what space you're looking at, whether it's on Pinterest or Instagram or TikTok, there's always going to be a weird angle. Like that just happens. Second thing that's going to make your space feel wrong. Your room might actually be fighting for your body. Your furniture can literally be arguing with your own nervous system. There's a concept in environmental psychology called prospect and refuge. Basically, what this means is that humans subconsciously prefer spaces where we feel like we can see the room without feeling exposed in the middle of it. Think about where people naturally move in a living room. They will almost always gravitate towards, a little cozy corner on the couch, like I am now, or a chair against a wall, or like somewhere that feels a little bit cocooned and protected. Like you don't see anybody going and sitting in that one chair that's just floating in the middle of the room because that feels really exposed. But guess what most furniture layouts do? They float every single thing in the middle of the room, which means that every seat in that space is going to feel exposed. And your brain is always going to register that as slightly uncomfortable. This is why some rooms can look really amazing, but nobody actually wants to. Okay, okay, okay. Franklin, please, please don't do that. Sorry about that, but this is why some rooms look really great, but nobody actually wants to sit in them. Like think a hotel lobby. So one trick that designers use is creating a lot of refuge points throughout the space. Places where furniture touches the wall or an architectural edge. That subtle boundary is really going to make the space feel safer and calmer. Why do you think so many open concept homes nowadays just feel so cold and empty and sterile? Well, it's because there's not a lot of refuge points. Because when you take away inner walls within a home, it kind of limits you. And it does make a lot of your furniture float in the middle of the room, which can be beautiful, but it can also feel really isolating and exposed. And as humans, we don't really love that. So we tend to gravitate towards the spaces that are going to feel warm and cozy. Third reason why your home might feel weird. Well, your room might actually have too many different directions going on at once. This is something that designers call orientation conflict, and it's extremely common in apartments. Basically, all your furniture is facing in different directions without any kind of clear logic. The couch faces the TV, the chair faces the window, the desk faces the wall, and the rug is angled diagonally for some reason. But when you do all of that, your brain can no longer understand the orientation of the room. It's like trying to read a book where every single paragraph is rotated in a different direction, and so the brain just has to work way harder to process the space. But the fix for this, again, it's really, really simple. You just have to pick a direction. Usually this is determined by either the longest wall or the largest window. Then most of the major furniture in that room should align with the axis. And of course you can break this rule a little bit to add in some personality, but I would say you just want to make sure that your space has a clear layout and floor plan that's going to make sense. And if you're a beginner at design or not somebody who feels super comfortable in that realm, it's usually better to start off more simple and then experiment as you go. But you basically just want to make sure that every piece is not somewhere different in the room. Now let's talk about the thing that really drives people insane. Weird shaped rooms. We all hate them. We all know them. Modern new build apartments are especially full of them. You've got a random corner, a hallway cutting through a room, half the wall is a window, the other half is a door, and you're just sitting there thinking to yourself, where on earth does any furniture go in this room? And the trick here is something that designers will call zoning. Instead of treating the entire room as one singular space, you want to break it up into smaller environments. This is going to be especially important for those who live in a studio, so if you do, really pay attention here. Instead of one kind of large mishmash of everything, you want to kind of break things off into their own separate zones. Maybe the room becomes a reading zone, or a TV zone, or a dining zone. What really matters here is that each one has its own furniture grouping. And suddenly, you will realize that the room will start to feel so much less awkward. And guys, please don't try and design your entire room at once. It's really stressful. So when you divide your space into these smaller little mini subsections or mini rooms, that will really help make arranging the layout a lot easier. Another thing that I don't really hear people talk about is that most rooms will fail because they have no visual rhythm. Your brain likes repetition. When you see shapes, colors, or materials repeated throughout a room, it will read as cohesive. And when you do the opposite and everything is super different, your brain will just see the space as chaos. This is why some homes will feel super calm even if they have a lot of stuff. It's because the different elements are echoing each other. Maybe the wood tone appears in multiple places, or the curves repeat across furniture, or a color will appear on your throw pillow and, an ottoman. Your brain really loves that kind of pattern recognition, and without it, a room will feel scattered. Now, I don't want you guys to misconstrue that and think that everything has to match, because it really doesn't. But what you want to focus on is creating a foundational color palette and material palette to build off of. Once you kind of have that grounding palette, you can throw in things that only exist once or twice in the room. Because if you follow this rule too strictly, it's gonna feel like a little bit too matchy-matchy, and you're not gonna have any surprises or any pops or unexpected, moments throughout the space. And that kind of thing is really what makes the space feel interesting. Let's talk about the biggest mistake that a lot of people will make, and that is that just most people decorate in the wrong order. This one just makes me so livid because it's such a giant waste of money when you do this. People will go out and buy decor for their apartment, or throw pillows for their apartment, or super tiny little furniture for their apartment, and they don't even have a couch. But designers and decorators alike work in a completely different sequence. The sequence is movement, anchors, seating, lighting, and then decor. So movement first. Where do people need to walk in the space? What are the different circulation flows that need to be taking place here? What are our constraints on where we're placing the furniture in the room? If you don't pay attention to movement in the space first, that's how you end up running into furniture and stubbing your toe on everything, and it's just not fun. Then you're going to want to do anchors. So, what is the focal element in this room? Then, seating. How many people are gathering in the space? Are you entertaining a lot, or is it just you? Then you're going to want to focus on your lighting in the space. This one is really important. You're going to want to make sure all of your lighting and bulbs are less than 3000 kelvins and that you're investing heavily in your lighting, because lighting can really make or break a space. Then, lastly, is going to be your decor. Decor needs to be thought about like seasoning on top of a meal. So if you are somebody or know somebody who's constantly rearranging their space, here's the process that I would recommend for you. Move yourself off your couch and go stand in the doorway of the room. Ask yourself a couple questions. The first being, where is the center of gravity in the space? Where do people move? And where do people sit? And then build off of those answers. Avoid going on TikTok or Pinterest or Instagram to figure those questions out, because those are what's going to determine how your unique and specific space is going to function and function well. Because interior design at the end of the day isn't just about taste and beauty, it's also about function and flow, and really understanding these underlying concepts that are really key to organizing a room in a way that's going to make sense long term. And nobody likes to talk about this on the internet because it doesn't feed the industry. It doesn't make you want to go out and buy a bunch of furniture. Because when you constantly feel like your space is inadequate, you're always going to feel the need to buy, buy, buy. But if you figure it out and come up with something that you're happy with, then you're not going to need to do that. It's really about understanding how people are going to experience the space, because a room that feels good isn't going to be one that's totally random. It's going to be one that responds to how our brains read different environments, which is honestly why so many homes with an unlimited budget or super expensive and luxurious spaces still feel really off, and why some very simple little tiny apartments feel great, because somebody understood the invisible logic behind the room. And the next time you're rearranging your furniture at 3 in the morning, don't think to yourself that it was probably just the couch. It was actually the structure of the room. If you enjoyed this video and want to dive a little bit deeper into the underlying aspects of interior design, go ahead and subscribe. We have a really great community here on YouTube, and we would absolutely love to have you. If you didn't know, I'm actually an interior decorator, so if you're really struggling with the space in your home, you can always hire me. I offer both full service design for those who are maybe starting from scratch, and per room consulting sessions to upgrade maybe a dysfunctional or awkward room in your home and really bring it to that next level so you can really love it. There's a ton of really great information about it on my website. You can find me on all social media at cooper.osinski, and I am here every single Thursday and Sunday at 6 a.m. PST. So there's a lot of content coming out for you guys, a lot of fun stuff in the future that you should stick around for, especially coming up this next week. I love you guys so, so much, and I will see you very soon.